Filipino indie filmmakers have been winning international awards and attention in the last 10 years or so. There is Brillante Mendoza, who won Best Director at Cannes. There's Lav Diaz, who won awards in Singapore and Brussels. And of course, before them, there was Kidlat Tahimik and Raymond Red, who paved the way. For this episode, we would like to hear the insights of two filmmakers, how they make films, how they develop an audience, and encourage people to watch. Michael Manese is a writer and director. His current film, Maxine, is an experimental, adult-themed short film about a couple breaking up. Rodney Reyes is a producer, writer, and director. His film, Not Fade Away, won Best Short Film at the International Film Festival at Manhattan in 2013. Joining me in this conversation are my two co-hosts, Jen Furrer, Rachelle Ocampo, and our guest co-host, Charina Nadura. Let me start with you, Michael.
Yes.
When you told your parents that you wanted to be an indie filmmaker, what was their reaction?
Well, my dad's an artist. When we were in the Philippines, he had a day job, but also on the side, he painted and he made ceramics. So when I told him that I wanted to get into the arts, he was supportive.
He was supportive. And then your mom?
My mom, whatever made me happy.
Okay. Standard reply. What about you, Rodney?
Well, I didn't know I wanted to be a filmmaker when I was young. I wanted to be an actor in theater.
Is that any better?
No, it's completely the same. So my father was in the Navy, my mom was a nurse, and they did not like it at all. They wanted to be
That's what I thought.
to go into computers or be a lawyer or something.
Oh, that's
Nursing,
right.
no. My mom wanted me to stay away from that, but I went ahead anyway with theater and acting, and it just sort of morphed into filmmaking. So
I'm sure they're all proud of you right now.
Yeah,
Okay,
guess.
that's great. So tell us a little bit about indie filmmaking. What defines independent filmmaking? Is it because it is not supported by a big commercial studio? Is that what frames it?
yeah, pretty much. You have those major movies that come out every summer, those big blockbuster movies where they spend hundreds of millions of dollars. That is not what an independent film is. It can range from like a really micro budget where you're using your iPhone to shoot a film to maybe going to a few to maybe tens of millions of dollars, and that's it. So it's a big range, but it's basically you as a filmmaker making films outside of the studio without studio interference or sort of like, hey, here's some money, you have to do it this way.
Michael.
Yeah, with today's technology, anyone can be an independent filmmaker. Like what Rodney mentioned, there's a feature-length film there that was shot on an iPhone. I think it's called Tangerine. It's doing well in the film festivals. And so, yeah, anyone with an iPhone can basically make a feature-length film and be an independent filmmaker. But I think what's important now, and what's even more important now, and what's going to be constant is a really big promotional and marketing push to market these movies, because now you have to deal with theatrical releases and streaming and DVDs.
That's right, yeah.
Do people even watch DVDs now? Or is it go directly to Netflix or to
Yeah, is
Amazon?
Netflix a competitor of, isn't Netflix a medium for independent filmmakers too?
That's what I thought. I thought it was used as like a
Yeah.
platform for indie filmmakers.
Independent film, web series, web content, original
Yeah,
media,
that's
new
right.
media. It's become it's really in competition with both television and movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think now that we have so many different avenues to present a movie, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Like anyone you said can create an independent film, and you have ways where you could present your film. But the problem is, how do you market to people? How do you make people watch your movie?
Yeah, I'd like to know this for Makilala too. I'm just trying to see how to engage your audience. Or find them.
Well, talking about your first point with Netflix and TV, I mean, to be honest, creative activity now is in series, TV series, like HBO series, because I think film, it has to make a lot of money to survive, and to do that, you have to hit all the, hit the lowest common denomination. So you get the movies,
But if you're with HBO or Netflix, aren't you also expected to make money for these organizations?
Yes, and
So effectively, HBO and Netflix becomes your commercial studio?
Or Amazon.
yes.
Yeah.
More like they can be. They can also be just your distribution.
Oh,
because you're
okay,
making it
okay,
yourself.
all right, yeah.
I know with original content or web media, one of the ways that they try to have people watch their films is to interact with the audiences, especially with web series. They create Twitter accounts,
That's
Facebook
right,
things,
yeah.
and they just sort of interact. They'll make videos. They'll respond to people. That's sort of like a new way now, within the last maybe 5 to 10 years, where the artist is communicating with the audience and sort of engaging them and having them, you know, oh hey, I'm doing something, check it out, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Or
yeah, that's
let's
right.
talk, let's tweet, blah blah blah.
I think
Yeah,
it's a
like-
plus for Filipino American filmmakers because Filipinos, I think there was a study or an article that #1 on social media or #2.
Yeah, we're also the most emotional.
Filipinos.
So engaged easily. So right? engaged.
But
So
do
how
we
do you-
follow? Do we follow independent films
As I
on
said, well,
social
maybe
media?
it depends. Do you cater? I mean, is your it's a theme of your movies? Do you like make sure that it's Filipino oriented? Like make sure that it will touch a Filipino, like you highlight a Filipino
Story.
story.
Michael, your first two films were are non-Filipino, right?
No, they're not
Yeah.
Filipino. They're very mainstream.
Very
I
mainstream.
wasn't at that mindset yet. I just wanted to reach a really big audience, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a mainstream story with mainstream characters and actors. But for
They're very good, by the way.
yeah, thank you. And but for my next film, it's going to be specifically about the Philippines. I mean, the main character is going to be a Filipina domestic worker working for an American, and yeah, I'm looking forward
I've never
to
heard that type of story before.
Yeah, can you tell us the title and like
It's,
and what inspired you to that story? And I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, very.
It's called the Pleasure of Being Served, and I got the title from I think I was watching a Ray Romano episode, and the mother, they go into a restaurant and the kids were going crazy, and her husband, and she's like, "Will everyone just settle down a bit? For once, I just want the pleasure of being served."
Oh, so
And,
that's where you got the line. Okay.
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
I've been going to the Philippines a lot lately. Like I was there this year, and I'm just starting to rediscover Philippines and Filipino culture. And yeah, I've just been so far removed lately, but for now, it's an exciting time for me.
But you said your film has race issues. It's going to discuss race.
Yeah,
It's not a romantic film.
It's not a romantic film, and it's gonna touch up on topics such as race and racism, sexism, classism. A little
Do you have
bit
a
of
lead
immigration.
character already?
No.
Are you still looking for the lead actress?
Well, it's all about getting the Indiegogo money for now. But once that's all put together. then-
Okay, yeah.
So what about you, Rodney?
No, I don't have anything currently.
You might want to discuss your film, the one that won, Not Fade Away.
Yeah, that was.
It's a sci-fi type film.
Yeah,
right?
it's a sci-fi type of film. It's basically about a couple spending their last hours together, knowing that the end of the world is coming. They know that there's this time traveler going back in time that's going to erase their timeline, so
Oh, okay.
they're just spending that time together. My films usually I try to keep it very broad, where like a lot of people can sort of
Relate to.
it. I really would like to work with some writers, though, and sort of branch out and get more into the Filipino culture.
What was your budget for that film?
For that film, $0.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who wrote,
What-
write, and produced it?
You did.
I did.
What about the equipment? How did you rent?
Oh, I had that.
Oh, you had
So like
that,
I
yeah.
purchased a lot of equipment. I have a team within the production company, so we're all working together. Like for me, it's all about collaboration, so that if we're all working towards the same goal and we're all getting something out of it.
Yeah.
And my actors are great. They're usually friends of mine that I've worked with. And
Is that
been
set
on
in New
stage.
York?
It was set in Jersey.
Oh,
that
okay.
was set in Jersey.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
right.
Which goes through the main topic of our discussion today, that how indie filmmakers actually make a living by making films like what you just mentioned. You have zero budget. Do you expect to get money out of your filmmaking at the end? And is it enough for you to make a living? Or how does it work in the
I think they
filmmaking
have day
industry?
jobs.
Well, for now, I do have a day job, and I'm very grateful for it because it does finance my filmmaking and my travels, especially to the Philippines. And no, I don't expect to make a lot of money on any money on my short films. I do it because I believe in it. They're usually, you know, like, yeah, they're like, they're, I don't know, I can't
Gives
think
you
of it.
satisfaction and
Yeah.
It's like your passion project.
It's my passion,
Yeah,
and I do, you know, whenever I raise money, it's usually to pay for the actors and the technicians.
You were saying something about trying to raise Indiegogo money for
Yes.
3,500.
It's,
It's such a small amount.
It's a small amount.
Where will
Most
it go?
of it, it's going to go to the cast and crew and the technicians, and we're going to do a 2-day shoot. And I pay my actors because I have a soft spot for actors because I know they lead rough lives. You know, a lot of them are just temping because they need the time to audition during the day. But also, on the other hand, I make movies for them to be successful. And if I
That's
ever
right.
make a film festival, I don't want to owe anyone anything.
That's
I'm
right.
just like, look, I paid you already, so.
In a typical budget, where does the bulk of the money go?
Talent.
Talent.
Yeah.
For short films,
For short
probably
films,
talent.
talent,
Yeah,
okay.
not like special effects or costumes or anything.
Equipment. Do you have your own equipment?
It depends. I do have some equipment, but a lot of times I have to rent the camera, but everything else I have.
That's great.
And Rodney, do you say that you had a day job too, or?
I have a day job as a production manager for the theater department at a university in Newark. However, the production company does do industrials. We'll do events where we're filming things and we'll edit it.
So it's kind of complementary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes we'll do headshots. Sometimes we'll do audition reels, video reels, web commercials, sort of to compensate the no money thing, but to get paid and sort of distribute that amongst, you know, the production team itself.
How long does it take for a project from beginning to completion?
Yeah.
I was surprised when you said 2-day shoot. I'm like, you're just
2-day shoot, yeah, it's 15, well, it takes me about I've been averaging a movie every other year because it would take me a year, really it'd take me about 6 months to just think about the idea, see if it's something that's worth going into and spending a lot of time and money on.
What about the actual filming?
The actual filming, well, Bart and Lulu was shot in a day, and Maxine was shot in 2 days. And
Maxine was shot in a bedroom, right? In an
and
apartment.
mostly in an,
yeah, in an apartment.
Mostly in an apartment.
Yeah.
And the same thing with my next one, which is going to be all in this guy's apartment. And I mean, you know, why make it hard on yourself? If you have,
I like that idea though. So might as well, you know,
Yeah.
block out 2 days and then plan ahead like
Yeah.
6 months.
That's right.
Like, you know, you have all the script and everything else.
then casting,
And
then
casting.
editing, and then usually I would make the movie at the end of the year. Then the next year I would start editing it, and then, you know, start submitting to festivals. And I give it a year.
What is your ultimate goal as an indie filmmaker? Would it be to be recognized by a big director or a big filmmaker, a big studio, and to say, I'd like to buy your film and promote it? Is that ultimately the goal of an indie filmmaker? Really? Or to win an award?
To me, yeah.
yeah. Like, what
yeah.
defines success as an indie
Yeah, as an indie
filmmaker?
filmmaker. How do
Yeah,
you
or
define
like
success?
what is it that say, okay, I made it?
Yeah.
You know what? For me, I think as artists, we have an obligation to tell a story. It doesn't necessarily mean that you create it or you wrote it, but I think the world itself just needs to feel connected in a way, and I think movies and television and any sorts of arts or entertainment sort of binds us together. So for me, if I can tell or create a story that someone else, somewhere else, can look at and say, wow, you know, that's happened to me. And if that's happened, that's success to me, for me.
Yeah,
I don't know about
that's
anyone
right.
else, but.
Do you have an ideal movie, something that you wanted to make that would define who you are as a filmmaker?
Budget aside.
Yeah.
That would be easy. For me, it's always been Annie Hall by Woody Allen. And
You wanted to make something similar?
no, the way it was put together, the way what it was about. because I first saw it in high school, and
too, yeah.
I thought it was
I
the
don't know this
funniest
one.
movie. It's
I
very-
like it too, yeah.
I thought it was really funny, and then I saw it again a little after college, and it's the same movie, and I thought it was really depressing, and it's the same movie.
Yeah.
And I thought it was creative because he wrote, directed, starred in it, he edited it, he produced it, he did everything.
Would that be called indie at the time?
He probably,
Would that be called indie at the
I
time?
don't know,
I
I'm
think
not
he
sure.
was production.
Woody Allen this
But he was just starting out at the time,
Yeah,
remember?
but still,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
he
it
was
was
still,
backed by a big production.
I'm not sure if he was backed by a. I wasn't sure. But I was surprised that Boyhood and Birdman are independent films.
Yeah.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
Oh, I had
yeah.
no idea.
According to my research. So I didn't know that too.
There's that Filipino indie film, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, Graceland.
Yeah, yeah, I've
Yes.
heard about that.
It was, and speaking of shooting for how many days, it was
Yeah.
shooting in the Philippines for 21 days, and
Wow.
they didn't have any permit when they went to the
Yeah.
Philippines to film.
How was it? Did it win
Oh,
any
it was
award?
Amazing. They
Oh,
were
really?
they were in Tribeca Film Festival.
Mhm.
They were in New York Film Festivals and around the world, and it was one of the best films in 2012, I believe. And
Oh,
it was an
great.
indie film, and they won so many awards. And it's
Yeah.
one of those things that it talks about Filipino stories as well.
Yeah,
I think we need more of that, like telling about Filipino stories.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
yeah.
because other people, if we don't write it, other people will.
We'll
Or
take it.
they-
Exactly.
They
There, I
won't
have an
take our
example.
story.
I have an example for that. This Englishman named Sean Ellis. He's an
Yeah.
Englishman who went to the
Great
Philippines.
story.
From what I hear, he went to the Philippines for vacation or to meet up with a friend. Had a great time, fell in love with the place, and he went back to the UK, and he wrote a screenplay about Manila and about Filipino characters and Filipino story. He wrote it in English, and then he went back to the Philippines, and I think he just worked with a bunch of local producers, and for the actors he just said, the script is in English, can you just translate it in Tagalog as we're shooting? And so yeah, when you were saying, if you don't make stories about yourself, other people will.
Yeah. Who's going to tell our stories? But how did Metro Manila end up? Did it present us in accurately?
Yeah, I mean,
did,
it was,
I mean-
yeah, I mean, warts and all and everything.
Warts and all,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was
okay.
good. It was really good. It was well made, and I was just telling Rodney about it. It's like, so that's how English people. Well, I wouldn't say all English people. That's how this particular Englishman sees
Philippines.
Filipinos
That's
and
right.
Filipino characters. But it's really, really interesting. It's on Netflix right now. It's
Yes.
streaming.
Is the Filipino American community receptive to independent films? Does the community support your work, guys?
I guess not, because they didn't
Yeah,
really
we have to think about it.
You were thinking about your answers.
Or we're more inclined towards big films,
I think they're just
I-
like anyone else.
I think
really.
I think fellow Filipino makers are more receptive to each other's
work, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I've had much assistance from fellow Filipino filmmakers in all stages.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the audience, I'm not too sure yet. I'll let you know in a couple years.
I mean, if you think about who we're going against, like if a movie like Iron Man will come out,
Right.
and you can only have so much resources to go against the
To
marketing.
compete, yeah,
I
that's
mean,
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So are you guys organized? Do you have an organization?
Like
Filipino
Filipino
independent
filmmakers?
filmmakers in New York
Oh,
or
like
New Jersey?
oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think there.
okay.
There are some groups. I mean, there's definitely a couple on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Does it matter if you belong to just a national independent filmmaker as opposed to a Filipino American filmmaker?
Yeah, but they might have different quaint and distinct issues if you're a member of a
Or support system.
community, yeah. But it
I
would be
don't-
nice to be part of a guild, or an industry association.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I mean, for now,
I guess not.
to be honest, I do join a lot of groups, Filipinos or otherwise, filmmaking groups, to meet connections.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And also connections, hopefully, for funding.
Ah,
So, and I mean, when I make short films, I would much rather work with someone I personally know than
Yeah, that's
someone
right.
I would find on Craigslist. So, going to these groups, going to their happy hours, it's really a great place. And then, if you meet someone, they'll know someone, then you can ask, well, what's it like working with this guy as a cinematographer or a sound person? So, yeah, and it's important. I don't think it's not necessarily matters.
So hypothetically, I'm just saying, if you were in these happy hours or networking events, and you see your ideal Filipino celebrity, where you would just drop and just be like, oh my gosh, they're here. Who would that be? This Filipino celebrity be?
And make a film about that person.
Wow. I could just say Pacquiao.
I would say
no.
Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao.
Wow.
And,
He's a real celebrity.
Yeah.
Well,
fans here.
unfortunately, I don't know that many Filipino celebrities here in the U.S. I mean, there's Lea Salongo's won a bunch of
That would be nice.
Tonys,
yeah,
and
yeah.
she's gone mainstream. She's not just for the Filipino audience.
That's
but
right.
Manny Pacquiao, I mean,
Somebody
come
has
on.
done his film already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
that's right.
seriously, I can't think of any other
Celebrities
who would have a mainstream.
in the
fans
film
or-
community.
yeah.
I think that you
yeah.
should just make films on Filipino celebrities here in New York City and
And
then make
Queens.
them mainstream.
Or
Well,
Filipino
that's my,
celebrities
Make that
in this
happen.
studio.
That's why I have my Indiegogo campaign.
Yes.
The lead character is going to be a Filipina. And it's going to be a Filipino story.
Right.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
Aside from budget, what's like maybe the number one frustrations that you guys go through when putting together a film?
I just trying to see it through. I feel like as a filmmaker myself, I get frustrated with almost everything that happens, and I just sort of need to push through it. And a lot of it is just personal, internal.
Yeah.
Wondering if it's going to be good. You know,
Yeah,
I
that's
judge
right.
myself.
Yeah.
And just pushing through it and hoping.
I think there's a lot of that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have like a deadline? What about you?
Well, for me, there are
Michael?
two things: time and talent. Because I try to rehearse as much as possible before the actual shoot, so that. I mean, I hate it when it happens, but when I go on a shoot, I don't direct anymore. I'm just like a timekeeper. It's like, we went over the scene already. Go, do your scene, because I'm just so paranoid about time because they're hired by the day.
Oh, that's right.
There's
And-
this. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No.
Go
I was
ahead.
just going to say, you reminded me of something. There's sort of this triangle sort of diagram that I adhere to, and I think a lot of artists do, and maybe Michael's done it also, where it's you have 3 points in this triangle, and it's cheap, fast, and good. And you can only do 2 of them.
Okay,
Yeah.
my final
Good.
question is,
fast and good.
are you guys willing to collaborate on a film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is going to direct
Definitely.
whom?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you can direct. You want to direct?
Or I'm
Can you be
open.
the
I'm
director?
open.
How
I'm
gentlemanly.
open,
You need to
yeah.
have a storyline.
Yeah.
The life of a
course.
Makilala lady.
I know, right? It would be very
Anyway, thank you
interesting.
so much, everyone, for a very enlightening
God.
discussion. Before we close, we would like to listen to our guest performer, the spectacular Geo Ed Rebucas, who is the male Mariah Carey. Ang galing, kinilabutan naman ako.
Thank you.
So tell me, have you met Mariah Carey, or has Mariah Carey met you?
I don't think so. Maybe she watched me before, earlier, and right now I just saw her, watch her concerts and shows, but not personally.
Oh, okay.
I wish
It
I
will
could.
come, who knows when. Tell me, Geo, what are your upcoming shows and where can they find you?
Actually, we're preparing a couple of shows, September, October,
September, okay.
this coming December, and actually next year.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're still planning it. But if you want to know where can I find and for my coming shows, just search me on those social medias, the networks, the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just type my whole name, and also on YouTube if you want to watch more of my videos.
That's it. And the name again, ladies and gentlemen, is Geo Ed Rebucas, the male Mariah Carey.
Thank you.